So today, as I'm sure you know, Donald Trump is not in Washington. Donald Trump is in Pennsylvania, where he says he's going to be having a celebration of his 100th day in office. So it doesn't seem that he's, at least on the surface, particularly concerned about what's going on here today. In the age of Donald Trump, in the age of an administration that seems absolutely determined to advance the interests of the fossil fuels industry and apparently believes that the science of climate change is a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese, how do we adapt to this? How can conventional demonstrations of collective will like this be effective? Do we need to escalate it? Do we need to up our game?
Well, we don't need to escalate. The people need to be in tune. What they have done with this current election, but also the ascendancy of Mr. Trump, it is showing you the powerful long-term influence and corruptive influence of money on our political and democratic process. The oil industry, which absolutely can outspend the average citizen, has bought this democracy. It's been 100 days since Mr. Trump has ascended office on these very steps behind us, talking about America carnage. Well, what did we mean by American carnage? We meant corporate carnage. And by that, he's right now in Pennsylvania, which is one of the fracking capitals of this country with regards to fracking gas, destroying lines, destroying the aquifer, destroying farms, and destroying people's health and lives. And yes, a gas industry that was also destroying the planet. And it's just as I say, twice as dirty as coal. And so the issue is right now, what kind of democracy do we want? Well, the American people, like you see right here, right now, at this march, are here. This is what grassroots democracy looks like. This is no different than the Boston Rise Up, which led to the Boston Massacre. American patriots rise up. When we are under assault, when our freedoms and our liberties and our right to clean air, clean water, and clean jobs, and a living, decent human wage, but also a decent civil society are under attack, this is what we do when we come out. And so what has been his response? No, he's not here, but he's here. So one of the things he did was Clint Eastwood the National Mall. So they put up snow fences to block people from even gathering on this lawn in this mall in front of us. Why? Because there would probably be a very interesting contrast of the true love and concern of the people with regards to the planet. But the people are here. No matter what the obstacle is or what's being thrown up, we're rising up to save our planet, but more importantly, to offer solutions. This is not just a rise up for the sake of rising up, but it's a rise up to save our democracy. Because at the end of the day, there's no planet B, and there's no second leader. Our country's the world leader when it came to climate change, and it's the world leader with climate solutions. We were at COP21 leading the globe in that conversation. His version of American carnage or corporate carnage on our democracy is to reverse that and, as I say, and take us back and to advocate for the more burning of dirty fuels and dirty energy that will absolutely kill the planet. So we are here saying, not only do we want our planet, but we want to take our democracy back. And this is just nothing more than a groundswell. This will go on for the years of his administration, but I hope the fire is lit into our civic culture and pride that we, the people, when we rise up, stand up, and hashtag resist, that we can take back our democracy, but more importantly, change the policy course and direction of this nation so that we can absolutely save this planet.
You talk about the reform of America's political system and the revitalization of its democracy. What about its economic system? Do you think that we can effectively deal with this crisis with a system that is fundamentally capitalist, or do we need to radically reform that system?
What he's doing right now, he's financing his new tax breaks with more debt. Our democracy, it's about choice. If the people are not educated, that they elect the leaders who then set the legislative agenda that actually decides whether we're going to have progressive taxation or regressive taxation, whether we're going to have like an economy like we did in the advance of the super industrialization and, as they say, for World War II, to mobilize our capital resources to beat back a threat. We can do that right now with climate change. We can absolutely have full employment building clean energy. We only have 5 offshore wind platforms in the entire eastern seaboard, but we have thousands of offshore drilling platforms. If we replaced every single offshore oil drilling platform with an offshore wind platform, we will generate hundreds of gigawatts of energy that we can absolutely get rid of nuclear power. So the power to change our democracy, the power to change our energy patterns is linked intricately to our democracy. So the threat of civil rights and voter rights violations in the South and voter suppression, these things are all linked together. There's a huge intersectional argument of suppression of our democracy and voter turnout and our ability to elect a Congress that will actually pass true laws and agendas that will actually not roll back the Antiquities Acts, but expand it, that will expand, as they say, clean energy production and clean energy manufacture. It is a choice of we the people, but if the corrupting influences of dirty oil and big industry oil and coal money that are influencing our democracy take away that choice, then yes, people are confused. But we're here to rise up to say, listen, we will, if it takes 4 years, 20 years, we will rise up and educate the populace. But more importantly, it's about us seizing our democracy. The purpose of corporate influence of dollars is to buy a voice. But we are the voice. We are the people. We will resist.
And a moment ago, we were talking to Jean-Michel Cousteau, the son of Jacques Cousteau, and he made an interesting observation that, in a strange way, the election of Donald Trump has woken people up. And you mentioned civil liberties. The American Civil Liberties Union apparently had a huge surge in fundraising immediately after the election of Donald Trump. Have you yourself in the Sierra Club, your organization, have you noticed a dramatic change in the collective will to deal with this problem since Donald Trump's election?
The Sierra Club has been working with partners like the NAACP, various other initiatives. We have a democracy initiative. We've been at the forefront of pulling together and recognizing people need to get out of their silos, that it's all connected, it's all threaded together. So the surge in action, we have been for the past 8 years pushing in, investing in, as I say, our civil society and our democracy, because we recognize in the wake of Citizens United, more money would be pouring in. And more money poured in to do what? Make America great again. But by that, it was crypto code of very anti-minority, anti-immigrant policies and tactics that basically grew on hate. So when he's talking about carnage, that kind of rotten carnage actually divided society. So yes, it was a wake-up call and a clarion call to America that we are all connected, that it is all connected. So we've been in that space. We are here and we're committed, and we will, as I say, keep our democracy initiative efforts up so that all the voters are awake, so that we can not only beat back the corrupting influences on our democracy, but actually get a Congress that will actually represent we the people.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us today. Have a great march.